going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the HasanDaily broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles. Folks, we're live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one, because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is hump day. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is a Wednesday, hump day. David Pakman doesn't know how to pronounce AIPAC in a hilarious attempt to feign ignorance. Yeah, I saw that. That's like kind of that's an insane thing that he did there. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of the content creators, like, who I am very cordial with, who you know, I have obvious disagreements with, but I'm like otherwise very cordial with regardless, have behaved in a way that I am kind of disappointed by. Not that it matters. I don't think these guys like me that much anyway. His brother worked for the ADL. No, I know. I know he did, which is why it's like, when I saw that, like, when I saw that video where he like talks about AIPAC or IPAC, however you say it, I was like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? It's a real, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't type situation for David Pakman. Cause it's like, you act like you don't know what AIPAC is. Okay. Either you're one, you know exactly what it is, but you're just like lying about not knowing what it is, which is, again, disingenuous. Or two, you're a political commentator since like 2005 or something, and you don't know a very important lobbying group. Like, come on. Either way, it's just like a horrible, it just doesn't look good. Like, that's crazy. You've been doing this for 20 years, man. What do you mean you don't know how to say AIPAC? Here's one thing I will say, okay? I have personal opinions, and I openly state what my personal opinions are. And yet, there are so many instances where a lot of people either fucking punish me for openly stating my personal opinions and yelling at me over it, while simultaneously assuming that, like, I'm actually cynically advocating for the things that I'm advocating for, and I'm not being 100% transparent or honest. If that was the case, I would never talk about NATO, for example. Or if that was the case, I wouldn't be consistently duking it out with, like, my left flank when it comes to certain issues. I have red lines that I don't cross. The reason why I do this is because I think it's the most appropriate way to go about it. You have your opinions, you share them, you have your biases, you openly reveal those biases. And at the end of the day, if people appreciate your commentary, if people know where you're coming from and they agree with your statements, then that's great. If they don't, then they don't. It is what it is. You can't win it all. This kind of attitude almost shelters the public from your perspective in a way that doesn't make any sense, because you're a political commentator. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why just, you know what AIPAC is, man. That's crazy.
In the first 48 hours, took the Wired story and expanded it with even more outrageous claims, suggesting that it's AIPAC or IPAC. I don't even know how it's pronounced. AIPAC, IPAC.
That's crazy. That's crazy. You know how to pronounce it, man. Come on. I'll defend David on the Chorus Wired article, but pretending to not know AIPAC is a bad look. Like, does he think we're dumb enough to not know that he knows what AIPAC is? It is one of the most well-known, powerful lobbying groups in the U.S. and has been talked about plenty in the last decade. To pretend that he doesn't know what AIPAC, pretending it could be pronounced IPAC, is just insulting to anyone who follows this channel. All these years, we defend this dude against AIPAC affiliation accusations, and he insults us by pretending not know how to pronounce it. I don't think David Pakman is, like, funded by AIPAC, for the record. I've never stated that. I don't think that that is the case. But obviously, like, this is an area where he is heavily biased, right? Israel is an area where he is heavily biased. That bias both stems from his own personal opinions about the state of Israel, but it also stems from his personal opinions when it comes to American foreign policy. Like, David, regardless of his socially progressive attitude, for years and years has had a lot of differences of opinion from someone like myself when it comes to American foreign policy. And he lands on the side that almost always is on the side of the United States, that rehashes and repeats whatever the State Department line is on a particular matter. Okay, so there's multiple reasons. He responds and says, guys, give me a break. I'm not pretending to not know what AIPAC is. I'm just unsure on the pronunciation. It's the same as how I get mixed up with the first O in sorrow is pronounced, or how the first A in Lara is pronounced. I mean, I don't know about all that. I think it feels as though he was just saying that to be like, I don't know, what is this AIPAC thing? And of course, there are a fuck ton of videos where he's saying AIPAC correctly. Like, I mean, that's...
Number one, AIPAC is a more right-wing group, and Jews in the U.S. are very, very liberal. So yeah, there are Jews who support AIPAC, who vote in the United States. But look at evangelical Christian support of AIPAC and of Israel. That doesn't even seem to be mentioned here. It's an important fact.
He is a lot more knowledgeable on this issue than he lets on, is what I mean. Of course he is. He's been doing this for 20 plus years, man. Like, he is a very knowledgeable guy. And the Christian Zionist pro-Israel, the Christian Zionist pro-Israel contingency is a very real one. It's one that I talk about quite a bit. He's a very smart guy. Like, he's a very smart guy. He's the notion that he's like oblivious to how AIPAC is stated is a way to just like make it seem as though he's like he has this like dedicated blind side to this issue, where I don't think that's the case. I think he just doesn't want to say what his opinions are on this.
But then we get to the bigger picture. You can recognize that this is playing on longtime anti-Semitic tropes and still support boycotting Israel, for example. And the reflexive reaction I saw from many on the left to say this can't be anti-Semitic because they felt as though it would in some way invalidate their support of boycotting Israel or their opposition to Benjamin Netanyahu. Separate the two things. You can be an opponent of Benjamin Netanyahu and believe that Ilhan Omar here is knowingly or unknowingly playing up anti-Semitic tropes.
I'm so glad that I fucking stood in opposition to this kind of stuff when Ilhan Omar was on the right side of history and was absolutely correct and was getting blasted by both the Democrats and the Republicans. This is when, remember that Donald Trump clip that I play all the time? May Allah awaken the people to the evil doings of Israel and the United States of America. That's Donald Trump quoting Ilhan Omar.
Representative Omar has a history of launching virulent anti-Semitic screeds, whether you like it or not. She said the U.S. support for Israel is all about the Benjamins. She said that pro-Israel...
You know what's funny? If you were to run this clip again, every single person in that crowd, or not every single person, but like most people in that crowd would be in agreement with Ilhan Omar. They would go, oh my God, that's crazy. Look at how based Ilhan Omar was. Why the fuck did we hate her? People in the United States of America love punishing those who are bold and are on the right side for just simply being on the right side, for simply demonstrating the moral courage to say the most basic shit.
Omar wrote that Israel has hypnotized the world. May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
How do we arrive at this? Because we were talking about Ilhan Omar, because here's an older video of David Pakman saying AIPAC correctly in the process of also shitting on Ilhan Omar.
Or against boycotting Israel or Israeli companies or whatever, and still recognize that it's a really bad idea to even go near approximating these anti-Semitic tropes. It's bad for Democrats. It's bad for the progressive movement. It's bad for those who want reform in Israel. That's okay. You don't have to feel as though merely admitting that this was a mistake, that it was either ignorant or malicious, and both are problematic. And that doesn't change the validity of your perspective on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict or what policy should be towards Israel. And I was concerned before the election that exactly this type of nonsense would start flying after the midterms.
Yeah, so he knows how to say AIPAC, man. That's crazy. Did anyone actually claim AIPAC was funding chorus? No. And also, there's a problem with this. There's a problem with what's going on here, with the way that people are actually tackling the chorus situation. And I think it's like something that a lot of people say I do whenever I get criticized, right? I try to, first and foremost, tackle the major issue whenever I get like hit from my left flank about whatever particular matter that there is disagreement over. In the process, I also do talk about like some of the most edge cases and some of the most insane smears that I am receiving, right? Yeah, I mean, David Pakman's brother, who worked as a producer, was a regional director for the ADL, Of course. Yeah, he did. I mean, he knows how to say AIPAC. Anyway, that doesn't matter. His brother's involvement doesn't matter. My point is, it's a way to try and escape the criticism that I think is valid, as far as like saying, look, this is being funded by the 1630 fund. There's a lot of misinformation flying around, but as far as like getting funded by like a dark money, a dark money PAC like a 1630, and as far as like the contractual obligations goes, I think like it was a mistake to put forth contracts like this that are very heavily redlined, and that obviously editorial independence is incredibly important for independent media. And we are going to be better than the Republicans on this issue, and therefore we should always disclose, regardless of whether the law wants us to disclose or not, in order to make sure that you understand, if you're a part of this audience, in order to make sure that you understand that, like, you know, there are people who are funding this process. If they were to do that and then move on, like, I wouldn't have as much issue. But there has been also misinformation surrounding this stuff, like people saying like, oh, these guys are funded by AIPAC or whatever. No, of course. Course is not funded by AIPAC. Here's another misinformation that I've seen. People talking about how 1630 Fund also funded RFK Jr. Yes, the reason why 1630 Fund funded RFK Jr. is not because they were aligned with RFK Jr. The reason why 1630 Fund funded RFK in his campaign was because they saw him as a spoiler. You know, I have seen a bunch of different like pieces of misinformation of people like criticizing 1630 and not doing the correct criticism. So when there's like incorrect criticism, I think these guys just kind of grab onto that and then simply use that as a jump off point to be like, well, we're not funded by AIPAC. I don't think this person is funded by AIPAC. If anything, it would be J Street and not AIPAC if someone were to be funded on the progressive side. And even then, I don't think this person is funded by J Street either. I think this is just David Pakman's own personal opinion on the matter, okay? Did Taylor actually accuse him of AIPAC funding? No, no one did. I think like people just went along with it. People use AIPAC as like a catch-all for every type of like Israel lobby activity. It's wrong if you're going to be like, you know, super specific. But no, Taylor Lorenz never said that. The only thing that a lot of people noticed in the aftermath of reading this article was that a lot of these content creators, especially big ones, right, and even smaller ones, were all content creators that had like either aligned with the previous administration, or had been noticeably absent from the conversation when it comes to a major issue such as Israel's genocide of the Palestinians. And that is the reason why people were like, are these guys getting paid to be silent on Israel? And I tried to explain at that point where it's like, well, there is editorial control over this process, at least contractual obligations that require some semblance of editorial control, which I think is like not great. These guys mostly are self-selected. But the reason why people say David A. Pakman or he's being funded by AIPAC or whatever is not because people legitimately think that AIPAC, a far-right pro-Israel lobbying group, is like directly funding him and his operations. The reason why they say that is because he's either A, noticeably absent from the conversation on Israel, or B, when he talks about Israel, it's usually in a way where it's fairly, I mean, it's just like a liberal Zionist position. That's it. I do think that it's like kind of silly to make it seem like you don't have, you know, any knowledge of this pivotal, this incredibly important lobbying group in American politics, especially right now, more than ever before. More important than ever before, I would say. Yeah, I saw the Matt Lee riff. That was pretty funny, where he said, squinting as my wife shows me the credit card statement, $15 a month for only funds? Fangs? What even is this? That's a good meme. That's a good joke. I mean, it just gets right to the fucking heart. I don't get why so many liberal pundits don't seem to understand the majority views of their own candidates. The reason why a lot of people just like choose to be silent on this conversation is because they're in a bubble. They're afraid of cutting through. They're afraid of exhibiting any sort of bravery, any sort of moral consistency. They're just like, by the way that this like job works, when you're in Congress for an extended period of time, you are entirely sheltered from the public opinion. And the only time someone is reflecting on what the public opinion is when you're fucking on a phone call with like a pro-Israel lobbyist guy who's telling you the public opinion is pro-Israel. That's it. Some people are cynical. They recognize what the truth is and they choose not to hammer on. Some people are oblivious because they're bubbled in. It doesn't matter. The outcome is still the same. But we're talking about politicians. If you're talking about like someone like David Pakman, I think he knows. He knows what's going on. That's the reason why he's silent on the issue, right? Because if he felt like there was a lever here that he could pull, if he felt like there was an angle here that he could take that still maintained like some semblance of a pro-Israel position as a progressive pundit, then he would do it. It's just he's choosing to keep quiet because he doesn't want to say something that would reflect poorly on him and his commentary, especially right now, because people will go, what the fuck? You are saying you're pro-Israel. This is crazy. At a time like this, when Israel's doing a genocide, why aren't you saying Israel's doing a genocide? Like that would be the argument from his own audience, and he doesn't want to deal with that, I think, which is why he just like chooses to stay silent on the issue. It's not that he's oblivious to what's going on. The reality of the matter is, like, if he had an opinion that he wasn't so worried about, like, he would say it. He would say it out loud. He'd be like, Israel's doing a genocide. It's unimaginable. It's really fucked up. And also we have to put a stop to it. You know, we have to put a stop to it. We have to put an end to it. It's just plausible deniability.